Oh, hey there. So, I'm reminded often to be kind every chance you get because you may not come this way again. And maybe you think, later on, I'll be kind to them. But now is your time to be kind to them. Now, I also think that it's important because oftentimes God weaves people into our life and then they come back into our life and they come back into our life. And if we're kind to them, that comes back to us. If we're unkind to them, that also comes back to us. Now, I want to give you, for example, in my own life and in my own neighborhood, okay? Years ago, it was late, and my girlfriend was like, babe, you got to come out here. There's a horse screaming. And I'm like, horses don't scream. She goes, I'm telling you, there's a horse screaming. And so I was like, all right, I'll listen. And after a minute, this horse was clearly screaming. And I was like, that's interesting. And she's like, we got to go help it. I'm like, I'm kind of tired. It's like midnight. I got to get up at 5 in the morning. She's like, we have to help him. I'm like, okay. So we start walking around the neighborhood, and there's several people in my neighborhood have horses, and one particular person had quite a few horses. And I saw, it was late, but I saw people walking around behind the glass. So I had knocked on the door expecting one person. I was like, hey, is Greg here? And he's like, no, man, Greg don't live here. I was like, I know this looks really shady because it's midnight and all this stuff, but I know that you guys have horses. Here's my card. We heard a horse screaming. You might want to check your horses. We're going to leave. I don't want to make you feel weird or anything like that. We look and look and look and look and look. Long story short, we can't find the horse that's screaming. And so eventually, I go to bed. An hour later, I get a phone call from the neighbor that I had just given my card to. And he said, you saved a life tonight. I'm like, I did. How's that? I feel like I'm in bed. And he goes, no. The horse was stuck. Its back legs were stuck in the stall, and its face was in a 55-gallon drum full of water. And so it was drowning, and then it would push itself up and scream for its life as long as it could until it was completely exhausted, and then back into the water again until it was almost dead, and then it would raise up and scream. And this was happening for hours, okay? And he goes, horses don't like their back legs touched or whatever, but this horse was just like, please get my back legs out of here. And so he did. Then he said, hey, I want you to meet the lady that, whose horse you saved, because she's not in a good place, health issues, her husband's dying, and this would have been devastating for her and whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy to meet her. So I did. Another year passed, right? I was flipping a house. I posted some pictures of it. And the reason that I got saved was from a guy named Damien Patino, who I've told his story tens of thousands of times, okay? But he was kind to me when I had been mean to him. And he just showed up on my Facebook, and I'm like, oh, I want to friend him for sure. Like, I owe him my life. And then he just shows up at this flip house I'm doing. I'm like, how did you, I didn't post the address on this. And he goes, no, I recognized it because my aunt lives around the corner. I'm like, your aunt? Who's your aunt? She was the owner of the horse. He saved my soul. He contributed to saving my soul. And we ended up saving his aunt's horse. Some more time passed. She needed to sell a piece of property. He did. He needed to sell a piece of property that he had inherited. It was a rundown house. I gave him a price, and then I took that house and tore it down, and I built it for other friends of mine who I spent the better parts of the day with, who I love dearly, and I'm so glad that they're my neighbors, okay? Then they ended up selling me another piece of property who I sold to other friends of mine, who I love to have as neighbors, who I love dearly. And I'm about to probably buy another house from them that I will fix up and sell to other friends of mine who I will love dearly and love to have as neighbors. And I just think that it's interesting that one small act of kindness from him and one small act of kindness from me snowballed into this blessing for everybody. I think it's very important to be kind when we have the opportunity. And if we're being honest, we always have the opportunity to be kind. Love you guys.